You've reached the Union of Metro Street podcast, where we discuss the San Diego music scene of the late 80s and all of the 90s, from the shows we worked to the shows we played. Here we go.
What I'm looking for in a woman is the way that Jesus makes me feel. That tingle in my heart. Only I need to have a little pussy attached to that.
All right, so that's Mower, and we got Brian here. What's the name of that song?
That was "Look Away."
Okay.
Way off the "Not For You" disc.
And you're doing Stretcher again, is that?
Yeah. So
okay.
I'll telescope this for you. I was working not too far from here during the pandemic. I was running a food and beverage department for a hotel that had a couple of. Well, it was actually two hotels on one campus. Pandemic hit. Wound up laying off the staff. I was kind of hanging on for a couple months, but they never reopened that restaurant. And like everybody else, just sitting at home, while this thing was going down. And luckily, I was close enough to the beach to where I could kind of surf and not lose my mind entirely. But right. I was going kind of stir crazy. And a buddy of mine from the East Coast hit me up, and he said, "You going nuts yet?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going nuts." He goes, "Well, I just put a bunk in a van, and I've got a generator. I'm going to grab an e-bike, and I'm just going to go hit the free campsites across the country. You want to jump in?" I go, "Yeah, I'll have all my stuff sold by the time I get here."
Oh, okay.
So I sold everything that wasn't bolted down in my place. I shipped a couple boxes to my folks' place, and we just went on an adventure. We were zipping to Sedona and Joshua Tree and Grand Canyon and just kind of zigzagging all the way across the country. And when I got there, I went and saw my folks for the holidays, and then went back down to Myrtle Beach is where he was at. I was getting ready to come back here, and my buddy's like, "What are you going back to?" I'm like, "Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I'm not. My job is history. That's. So I wound up buying a little place there, and I lived in it for a couple of years and renovated it and sold it. And then I just came back here for vacation. I booked a week in July, but before I came out, I kind of hit some people up and said, "Hey, is anyone making music? I'd love to go in and cut a song, and just put something out for fun, kind of old school." And a couple people hit me back, and two of the people that hit me back were the guys from Stretcher, Joe and Tom.
Okay.
So they had been writing during the pandemic. So they told me, hey man, we got like an album's worth of music. We don't have any vocals. If you're into it, come up and check it out. So that's pretty much what happened. I went up one day out of that week, and we liked what we had heard. And then they had me come back out in August for a few more days, and we wrote a little bit. And then during that trip, Tom said, hey, I got a spare room here if you want to come in and stay here while we finish this stuff. So I was like, why not? So here we are. So no, I mean, those guys have been Stretcher. They were Belligerent, and then they were Stretchers, and they want to continue a Stretcher. I don't really care, how names are. It's like,
right.
Once you say it enough, it's connected to the band anyway. And so that's what we're doing. We started, continued to write, and the thought process originally was, we're recording in their home studio on Logic and stuff like that, and they wanted to put stuff out, and it just was, was at demo level. You know what I mean? So So I kind of sat down one day with the guys and said, look, I like this stuff, but I'm not putting this stuff out. Like it's got to at least be at a certain sonic quality if I'm going to do this. So, and I said, I'll put my money where my mouth is. If we want to go do a track, I got a couple grand. I know some people here in town that we can go work with, or we can all kick in. The more we throw in, we can do a few. So that was kind of the everybody's like, all right, well, I got some money on it. So now we went, and we're going to do 3. And we're trying to figure out who could do it, And the funny thing was the guy who did the last Mower record, his name's Eddie Wall, and I saw he had released a song. He's really close friends with the singer from Fuel. So they have this project called Radio Bot. So they released a couple songs. I saw one on Facebook, and I hit him up. I go, hey, congrats, Eddie. Does that mean you're doing music again? He goes, kind of, because he went from music to like doing the music for NBA and NFL, which is lucrative,
Right.
But
pays the bills.
Yeah, and he's really good at it. He's a really good composer. But I didn't think he'd be interested in anything. So he goes, yeah, kind of. Why? I go, well, I'm in a project and we want to do a few songs. You're interested? He goes, well, send me what you got, and if I'm into it, then we can do it. So we sent him like 6 or 7 tracks, and he's like, yeah, this is cool. And then we kind of discussed which ones we thought would be the best to do for the first 3, and we're at the mixing stage on those 3 now, and we are just laid drum tracks in LA with Eric Amory, who just got done doing the last Blink record. He got some great drum sounds, like a really good engineer, producer, musician. So now we've got to go back up the rest of this month to do guitars and vocals, and then we'll be mixing these 3 for that first 6. We're going to start dropping singles in May, like 1 a month, and then the idea is to bookend it all as a record at the end of the year with like 4 to 6 more songs. Nice. So it turned into like me coming out to have some fish tacos, and now I'm back in a band and
making some music,
and we're we're doing some quality stuff. So I'm excited about it. But I'm not excited about all of the business. I mean, just even trying to book a show, I'm already just remembering what I hate about it. The music part's great.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying that part. The rest of it is taxing. So,
well, are you guys gonna get management to do it, or are you just gonna?
No, I mean, for me, I want to use this as a vehicle to get out of the country. Like I was in South America in the beginning of the year, and while I was down there, I was trying to make connections to try and get to some of these other countries. We're not going to make a ton of money in these countries necessarily, but if I can get somebody to pay for the flight and the accommodations to get me down there to perform,
right? I
mean, I'm all over it. So I'm throwing it out there into the universe and trying to do what I can to make it happen. I was in Bogota, and I was on the beach side of Colombia, and they love metal down there. I mean, like a lot.
Oh yeah.
So they've got a lot of bars that are, you go in the bar and there's just metal stuff playing in the background. They just videos cycling through old metal stuff. It's like kind of like it's heavenly, man. You know what I mean? You go to get a hamburger or whatever, and they just have this really rocking music on. So I was talking to the owners of these places and talking to some of the bands that we run into, and American bands play down there, of course, but it's like, Guns N' Roses or Iron Maiden, or when we were there, Slash was playing at like some 1,500 seater in Bogota, and people wrapped around the block. But as far as like mid-level bands, they're not going to Colombia.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that, you know, if we man up and get down there somehow, I think it's going to be just an attraction to have people from Southern California going down there and playing. So,
Oh, yeah.
that's my thought on Costa Rica, maybe Peru, and, you know, kind of Central and South America. I'd almost rather start there and then come back here and worry about shows. You know what I mean? Because,
Yeah.
you know, Mower got to 48 states, and I'd like to go check out some countries, you know?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the thought process. We'll see what happens, you know, but we're going to do some stuff here. Obviously, this is kind of the stomping grounds for a long time, and got a lot of people that are interested, you know.
Yeah.
There's definitely got some, you know, Stretcher had a good fan base, Mower had a good fan base, and people want to, you know, you hear somebody's doing something, you want to check it out. You know, if you were ever into the scene at all. So, but I think that's going to be interesting because it's got a lot of the Stretcher feel, especially the drums, you know. Well, I mean, they were the rhythm section of Stretcher, so it's got a lot of that feel. But then I'm coming in and I'm not even doing what I was doing in Mower. It's a lot more hook to it. You know, you can kind of sing along with the choruses and
It's
stuff
more
like
melodic.
that. Yeah, but you know, my voice is not. I don't have a super gifted voice, but it is unique and it is kind of scratchy. It doubles well, so I mean the recordings are sounding probably better than we will live.
Yeah.
But I think it's unique, and I don't think anyone's going to be expecting kind of what we're doing either, because it doesn't really sound like either of the projects.
That sounds even better.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, toot your own horn, but I think we're onto something cool as far as the sound, and we're trying stuff. I mean, we're going to put out the first song we put out is going to be a cover, and that's going to be a trip because it's not really it was not a super heavy song to begin with, and now it's still not super heavy. So
Yeah.
But we haven't finished recording that one, so it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out. But you know what? I was listening to this podcast just trying to see how you flow and stuff like that. And I was thinking, I don't remember, like, you're more interesting than I am by far as far as just like the amount of bands that you dealt with on a day-to-day basis. And you know, we were kind of talking before you hit record, but just like gone on to worldwide renown, you know, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
How many paths you've crossed.
It's real crazy, you know, watching these bands grow and
Yeah, for sure.
selling millions of albums, you know. And then there was some one-hit wonders too, you know, that would come through, but the 90s was a great time for music.
I don't know how kids do it today. I mean, I grew up and I got to get my 70s bands on, and then I was around for kind of when it changed into hair metal, and then it changed into grunge, and like kind of these, you know, decades of style. But at this stage of the game, like, there's music coming at kids from everywhere. Like, how do you even filter through what you like anymore?
What I've noticed, because I was mentoring a group that ended up, they put on shows and events and stuff. So I just kind of passed the torch, for, you know, lack of better words, but they are so eclectic in all their tastes. They just kind of combine everything. They don't really see the same boundaries. And I'm talking like the 20-something-year-olds.
Yeah.
They just do whatever. And even like my daughter's turning 24 in June. Her taste is influenced a lot by her mother and I. Someone the other day had mentioned something to her about, oh, that's really punk rock of you. And she goes, well, I would assume so because my parents are both old school punk rockers.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, but to her, she doesn't think of it that way. And these kids, they don't really see the boundaries. They see the openness and just, they can do whatever creatively. They have that license, and they're like, you know, finally a culture that's like, no, fuck you. We're going to do it our way.
Right.
If we want to do a reggae song and then we mix in some, you know, Meshuggah type metal, that's the way it's going to be. But as far as making a career out of it, that seems to be the point where I don't know how these kids are going to do. I mean, even bands now, you have to tour all the time.
Yeah.
You know, and if you have a family at home, it makes it harder. But to actually make money with all the streaming, and because not many people are really buying vinyl. They are, but
yeah, it's not cheap to make.
It's, you know, it's tough these days, and it's because it's so widely available. So it's a yin and yang.
I bet it was tough anyway. I mean,
It's always been tough.
Yeah, even the 60s and 70s.
It was probably
the record
worse
label.
back then.
Yeah, I mean, from the advent of record,
Yeah.
God, what they did to the early musicians in this country was, but not much has changed,
Yeah.
Not much has changed.
Bands got screwed, but yeah, definitely now with the like what we're talking about, Spotify,
Yeah, that was
iTunes,
kind of the final blow.
Nobody's getting paid what they deserve.
You can sell lunch boxes and T-shirts now.
Yep.
So it's almost like these. The funny thing is we're investing in this music, so it sounds good. For nobody. Like no one's waiting on this record. Nobody.
It's
no
for
one cares.
you. Basically, it's for you. Yep.
We're spinning our own wheels for thousands of dollars, and it'll take us, God knows how many shows
to make
even that back. So obviously we're not doing it for money, but at the same time it's like fucking pay me, you know what I mean? Even
Exactly.
a plumber's salary. I'm not trying.
And it's just like this podcast, we don't make any money off this, and I spend money to come down here, but it's our gig.
Yeah. No, I get it.
We like it, and we like it brings back memories, and,
well, this is kind of what we were saying. One of the rehearsals lately was like, this is going to be the fun part of it. Like it seems kind of like a grind, and going up to LA and doing it. This is as good as it gets. This and the first few shows, the first big show, and then it's just like it gets to be a grind. So we're trying to enjoy this, and I probably enjoy it least out of everybody. Everyone else is kind of fun loving in this band, and everything sounds good to them.
Those guys didn't really tour, right?
No, they tour.
They did.
Yeah,
tour?
Stretcher toured. So we would run into him on tour.
But
actually.
did you guys toured more though, right?
I think we toured more. Unfortunately for them, they were at a stage where they were starting to get looked at by different labels. They turned down a couple deals, and then they had one pending, and then the band kind of came to an end, which is kind of why for me I like the fact that Tom and Joe are getting a chance to put something out that is quality, that's done by, they never really worked with a producer per se. They recorded a couple albums, but it was still kind of real homespun, and now they're kind of seeing how someone who's done 50 records, Eddie Wall's done Anthrax and Dry Kill Logic and Il Nino, and he's Smile Empty Soul. He's done some accredited stuff with some really talented people, and he's got a process. And I'm constantly just watching and taking notes while he's doing it, because I'm learning a lot. And I learned a lot the first time I worked with him, just about pre-production and about arrangements and stuff like that. Honestly, when I came into this, these guys were doing what you would expect three guys without a singer to do, which is just playing. I mean, they're just 7-minute songs and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, well, we've done this part enough times now,
They were jamming, basically jamming.
Yeah, just jamming, and they're hitting record, and then the next thing you know, you've got this 17-minute opus that's really 3 songs, So some of that was me coming in and going, all right, this is awesome. This sounds good, but maybe if we flip that. So it wasn't something I really did much in Mower. It was more arrangements and stuff here. I did some of that in Audio Addiction, which was a real departure for me, like style wise. But all that stuff kind of came in handy here, and I think we go up to Eddie, and Eddie would do even more arranging. So it's it was getting honed all the way through, and I think we're anyone that liked our old bands is gonna probably like this stuff. It's solid, and we're putting effort into it to make sure they're not just putting out junk. So.
Well, let's do a deep dive then. What got you into music?
Okay, so I will admit to my first record, and then I will tell you what the record that I wanted next was. There was a kid lived a few doors down from me. His mother was a Beatles fan. He was a Beatles fan. Unfortunately for me, I didn't know the Beatles were better than the Monkees. I was quickly informed of that when I got the Monkees' Greatest Hits as my first record, and then we quickly made a right turn away from that. And for my 7th birthday, my dad asked me what I wanted, and we were in. It was like a Target of the day. It was called Two Guys back in New Jersey.
You know what's funny? When we talked to Roy from Downset,
the
first band he got into was the Monkees.
That's it.
I was just thinking that.
He wanted
crazy.
a drum kit, and he wanted the haircut.
I didn't want the haircut, but I did want a drum. They gave me a drum, and I broke the head immediately, and that was the end of my drumming career. They wouldn't buy me another drum. But then the album that, so my dad's an Irish guy and he's got a thick brogue still to this day, but he's like, go pick out an album, son, I'll get you whatever you want. So I come running back with Kiss Alive 2, and he's looking at like the blood spattered makeup, and he looks down at me, he's like, is this really what you want, son? I was like, yep, that's what I want. And then my birthday party was less about me and more about Kiss Alive 2. Like it wasn't just out. It was like the centerpiece, like opened up, gatefold, standing, all the fake tattoos. It was between my dad and my dad's mother, my grandmother. She came over for a visit when I was in 5th grade, and she did the same thing. Brian, your birthday's coming. Go, hey buddy, go pick out something. We're in Barnes and Noble. Go pick out a book. I'll buy it. So the book I got was No One Here Gets Out Alive, the Jim Morrison autobiography. So between my father and my grandmother, it just put me on a path of it's going to be rock and roll. So between the two of them, the Doors and Kiss were pretty much the.
Well, what was your dad listening to?
Anything Irish.
Anything Irish.
I don't think my dad could even pick out who was playing what, but he had the Dubliners, the Chieftains, anything that was made by an Irish person. That was what he was listening to the house. My mother, I don't know how I wound up getting into rock and roll music because there was no precursor. Like my mom was like John Denver and Glenn Campbell.
So obviously you got into the Monkees because you saw them on TV.
Probably, yeah. Probably. And then Kiss was kind of ubiquitous too. They were everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't avoid them. So, and it's funny because the two guys that I like in that band, well, that I prefer, I like Ace Frehley. He's kind of my guy. And then Peter Criss were the first ones out.
Yeah, that's, back in the 70s, those were the two guys I liked too.
Yeah.
That's so crazy because I'm the odd man out as usual. I never liked Kiss.
Yeah, a lot of people.
I thought it was.
I can't say I liked the music. I just liked the look.
You know what, man?
I didn't even like the look.
Albums up until they took the makeup off. I still listen to that stuff.
Yeah,
I still love all that.
Yeah, I was never a fan. I was Black Sabbath, Ozzy. Well, my foundation is Black Sabbath and Black Flag.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
But Alice Cooper's makeup I liked. Ozzy when he did the eyeliner. I mean, I did it as a kid. I would go to school after my birthday and I would still have a little bit of eyeliner and people are looking at me weird and it's like, oh, they're looking at me weird because it's the day after my birthday.
Yeah.
Nothing's new, but that look I liked. But on the flip side, I do still like all sorts of metal, all the guys with all the war paint and I forget what they call it, but...
Oh, the corpse paint.
Yeah, corpse paint. Yeah. I mean, I like that but now I do a project called Resonance, and it's just this free-flowing thing. I have a specific hat and a mask so that I can have my daughter do Dia de los Muertos makeup just down onto my beard so that you can't really tell it's me. But, the Kiss stuff, I just never... I don't know why. And I always felt weird around other people like, oh, yeah, Kiss Alive and this, that, and Beth. And I'm like, I know all, a bunch of the names, but I never got into it.
Yeah, no, that was the early stuff. But then, I lived grew up in Bergenfield, New Jersey, and it was a pretty Hessian town. Like we were all Maidenheads, and we were all into Metallica, and we were all into
wearing the jean jackets,
all that stuff.
Oh yeah,
jean jackets with patches and buttons and all that stuff. So that was but I didn't. I went to like the Catholic school growing up, and then I went to another town for high school, to like some college prep high school. Like you wouldn't get that looking at a tattooed shaved head guy now, but that was me up until college. College, I kind of finally broke away and kind of did my own thing to some degree. And then I got into like Jane's Addiction and the Pixies and more punk stuff.
Some alternative.
I can tell you, my Dominic from Mower, that guy schooled me on some really good punk stuff.
Oh yeah.
And I took to it. It wasn't. My punk for me growing up was the Sex Pistols, the Clash. Like it was more of the English punk, with the exception of like the Ramones and stuff like that. And I did get some Black Flag. One of my friends spent the summer out here in California and came back with Black Flag, and we all just thought it was the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
So there were little bits of it, but it you if you got Circus Magazine, then you got all the like the end of the 70s rock into the 80s. Kind of Guns N' Roses, stuff like that. So I was inundated with that, and maybe in the back of the magazine there'd be a little blurb about Black Flag or some Orange County punk bands. And when I got out here, like Dominic just schooled me on the Orange County stuff. You know, I really didn't have too much of it unless it was big enough to reverberate to the East Coast, like a Social Distortion or something like that, you know?
Yeah.
So there were bits of it, but the more obscure stuff that I wound up liking the most was kind of, I got a lot of that from Dom. And when you're out here, it's, you know, it's around you. You're kind of inundated with a lot of skate punk, which is cool. I mean, I definitely took to it, you know, hit the ground running on it. So
yeah,
kind of shaped what we were doing. And when, like, before Dominic became part of Mower, there was the, I don't know if you go back as far as the father and the son.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. Oh
so,
yeah.
So that was kind of was the father, the son, Alex and Ryan.
Yeah,
Toth.
I booked you guys when it was that lineup.
That's right, because you know who took to the kid was BC from Head PE, the drummer from Head PE, had also played with his father. Yeah, super great guy.
Yep.
Like I when I was moving,
I actually got the tour with those guys.
He was you know, we toured with Head, but at that point he wasn't in the band any longer. But I was starting to say, when I left California in the pandemic, I was kind of going through stuff, and you know, long story short, I found these emails, and there were just emails like back and forth about shows and stuff like that from BC, and every single one of them had this like positive vibe, and like it's super one of the most encouraging people that I've met in this industry. And I hit him up. I was like, hey man, just going through some old emails, like, how you doing? And he was like, yeah, if you're ever up in my neck of the woods, stop in, type of thing. So he's north of here, but he was playing. I think he's still playing now. He wound up with, oh man, it was David from Korn. I think started Bias, whatever it was, breaking in a sequence or whatever. And then I don't think he's in it any longer. And I thought I saw that BC was doing something with him. I'm probably confusing facts here, but if he's playing again, that's awesome, because he was a great addition of feel to that early Head stuff. Like that snap of his drum was dope, really dope.
Well, how'd you end up getting into doing vocals?
I'm talentless other than writing lyrics and harmonies and vocals, you know. And I don't, like I was saying earlier, I don't know if it was before we started recording or not, but I'm not particularly gifted, except that I can mimic styles of things I like, but I can't mimic the sound. So it's my voice. Like I was thinking like I was lifting a Blind Melon vocal for one of the Mower records, and then it didn't sound anything like Blind Melon.
Right.
You know, like what the hell? There's no even a correlation to that. So I'll hear something and then I'll try it in my own voice, and I can't match what the original guy was doing.
Right.
But now I've got this totally new thing. And I mean, I like to read a lot. I like, you know, I guess I'm as opinionated as the next person, you know, and you know, we were kind of listening to that song at the beginning of this thing, and I haven't heard it in a while, and I was listening to the lyrics. I'm just like, man, I wish they weren't applying to what's going on today, you know?
Right.
Mower, I think in this town, at least, we kind of got lumped into, you know, like just mosh pit, knucklehead, you know, knuckle dragon types, and some of that is on us, and some of that's on the fans. Like if you open a taco shop and you want to sell 12-hour braised carnitas, and it's got all the love in the world, but all the idiots show up want quesadillas, and that's all they'll buy. Well, I guess you're serving quesadillas. Exactly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like some of the songs that are the more popular songs for our band are not necessarily the ones that I think are doing the most for society or getting a great message across. I mean,
right.
Well, yeah, you got to remember it's entertainment too. So
true, but you know, at the same,
get the crowd going. That's, you know,
that we were good at.
You got to get that energy off the people. And that feeds you guys.
That we were good at.
Well, in hindsight too, I don't know if you know my sordid history, but everything from Pour to Cockroach, Meat, Urine, Simpson 77. I basically just knocked down whatever door and it's like, fuck it, this is what I'm feeling right now.
Yeah.
A lot of it, you know, a lot of it, if not all of it, was alcohol fueled. But like with Cockroach,
share that, yeah.
Cockroach, I hated the pop punk, and everyone's, you know, going that whole, they're pigeonholing into the Green Day, Blink 182, whatever, that whole formula. So that's why Cockroach was so just left field. I pulled everything I had into me to just try to get the angst, but make it appropriate enough to be able to be on stage
Yeah.
and to entertain. But my whole heart and soul was in it. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, fuck you and fuck you and fuck you. And I mean, we had the song Fuck You, and it got covered, which is hilarious.
Classic.
But, you know, you kind of go with whatever's going on around you, and you adapt. And
I think one of the issues, you know, my own issues, I didn't really get into music, like I said, because I had any particular talent or anyone thought I was a prodigy. I mean, I got into it at a time where I wasn't happy with a lot of what I saw around me, and wasn't necessarily even happy with what I felt in me. You know what I mean? So the bands that were hitting at that time were like Rage Against the Machine, and you had 9 Inch Nails and Korn and all these like pretty angsty bands, you know, and that was a real thing. But unfortunately for me, it was like at the end of the show, there wasn't any real show. I was just up there losing my shit, and then I'd get off stage and I'd still be losing my shit. You know what I mean? Like I didn't have the capacity to kind of do the work on your own thing, you know. So people would sit there and it was authentic because there was no act to it. Like I was just up there going nuts for 45 minutes, but the sad thing is then I would just keep going nuts.
You couldn't turn it off.
Yeah, I mean, and if you're singing angry stuff and thinking angry thoughts, like you're just angry, you know what I mean? You're an angry person, you know, and that's not doing yourself any good. You know, the band that I got into after Mower was Audio Addiction, and I, you know, in my brain that is one of the biggest crying shames, because we had like 30 songs written, could have given the world a solid all killer 10 song album, and we just didn't record it. You know, like there were just issues with what everyone's plans for that band were as far as where we were going to take it. You know, that some guys were happy just doing the shows, and for me, I really wanted to record stuff, because even with this band, like I want to record things because that's what you're leaving behind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The shows are a moment in time, and unless you're recording them professionally or you've got, you know, a videographer, like that's gone. You know, the people that were there may remember bits and pieces of it, or they remember it the way they want to remember it.
Can you imagine we had all those shows videoed back in the day?
Yeah, forget it.
Been crazy.
But in a lot of it, you'd be like, man, those guys sucked. You know what I mean? Like if you're caught up, I mean, look,
we knew who sucked.
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, there were some bands that you could get caught up.
Think about all those local shows we did.
Yeah.
The 6 band shows.
Yeah, but a lot of, like we were saying, a lot of those bands launched off into, you know, megastardom.
Some became
some
huge, but
you know, and it's funny because, I mean, if a kid who is a fan of like 2000s music, I could regale them with stories, because you cross paths with everybody. Like I was saying to Germ, like the number of worldwide musicians that you've, you know, had conversations just like this with, the list is endless, you know. And even myself, you go on tours, you meet 5 bands every time you go on tour. They know people. You start getting these connections.
It's basically a small world.
Yeah,
it is, and it's funny because it's just this
family.
this 0.05% that gets kicked up into the next echelon. That is, you know, they're just living in a world we're not living in. You know.
Yep.
And I wouldn't mind a taste of that.
Oh yeah,
but,
who wouldn't?
But like I say, if I could,
but then there's some guys that they can't handle the fame.
Well, yeah, because you can't enjoy a hamburger. You know what I mean? Like you're out.
Yeah, you have no freedom.
Yeah, no, that's for sure.
Yeah, you become a product. That's my whole thing. I do not like the fame.
Yeah.
Even when I go to shows now, which is really rare, my wife and I, my head's usually down.
Yeah.
I don't like to make a fuss.
Don't want to be pestered. Yeah.
I don't want to not remember people, because then I get extremely embarrassed when people will approach me. I had one kid come up to me at the Buck 09 show when they played.
Orlando.
Yeah. This kid comes up to me. He's with his mom.
Right.
And with his girlfriend. And he comes up to me and he's Germ, right? And I'm, yeah.
Yeah, and you're not.
Not many of me. And he goes, I don't know if you remember me, but I was in. And then he names the band. And then immediately I remember the band name. So I put on I'm going to make this guy's day. He's here with his mom and his girl. Oh, yeah, I totally remember. And I'm struggling to remember, but outside, I want him to feel the same love that, you know, because he's approaching me.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be, fucking get away. I'm not signing anything today. I was just just as stoked to meet
Not
him.
signing anything today.
I don't want to be one of those guys because there's plenty of those people that still treat me that way.
Should have been carrying a stamp. He could have stamped his wrist.
Can I get your guest list, people?
But there's people that still treat me like I'm nobody. And, they stepped on me. They're up at the top.
Yeah.
So fuck me. But I can't do that. All these people let me do what I was doing. And when I got in there and started booking these shows in the beginning, man, I booked anyone and anyone.
Right. To get bodies.
I didn't care. If you had a band, I was there to help you get to where you wanted to go with music. Yeah. So when I meet people in public, I tried the best I can to remember them, but I give them an honest thing.
Think about how many local bands there were back in the day.
Oh, yeah.
Dude,
everybody was starting a band in the 90s.
Like it, right?
100.
Because, we gave them a place to play.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd watch their favorite bands, like, shit, we can do this, let's do this. And then more and more bands started coming. We had crate loads of demos.
Oh, yeah. I got rid
it.
of 4 milk crates completely full.
Yeah.
I still have about half a crate.
And when you're a band, you don't even know. You throw demos at anything. Somebody's cousin's brother's sister's a music attorney. You're throwing you conveniently leave a demo at somebody's house. It's just like a million. I remember we were, before we signed our indie deal, I found out where the president of the label lived, and I used to just flyer that block. Every telephone pole on that block. There's no way he left his driveway and drove out of his street without seeing 6 mower flyers. So it's like,
That's the way to do it, though.
He knew you were working.
He knew we existed first.
And you were
he
hungry.
Had seen the name, and every, like I said, that block got papered because I knew this person was going to see it. And we eventually did sign with that label.
Yeah.
So it's kind of hysterical.
So when did Mower actually start? What year?
Yeah.
95 was myself, Alex Ryan, and a guy named Rich that was playing bass, and got us to the point where we were going to do a show, and then he didn't want to play. Like he wasn't comfortable going to play. So that's how Dominic and Chris got into that picture, because we needed a bass player. And Chris answered the ad, but Chris always wanted Dominic in his band. They had been in a band together in Breckenridge. I didn't want 2 singers in a band. I was of like the Jim Morrison, off on my little angry death trip that I was on or whatever. But Dominic showed up at a practice, and we won
with his mohawk.
Yeah. He actually was in the crowd watching us right down the street from here. It was, I think by then, it was the Velvet still.
Oh yeah, it's literally right across.
Right, so Velvet
the freeway
to Crowbar, but he was for his. I think it was his 21st birthday. He saw us perform at the Velvet as a 4-piece, and then shortly after, Dominic as a person is a great person, So the friendship was pretty quick, but also the chemistry of that back and forth. And he's got that high punk voice, and I have the kind of barky, whatever the hell voice I've got.
He pulls a great Bon Scott.
Yeah. You want to talk about a mimic? He is a mimic. He would definitely listen to somebody for 10 minutes and then copy their voice. That's definitely Dominic. He's good with the inflections and everything. But that turned out to be a cool thing that I kind of was fighting early on. But then there was kind of no denying it. We started writing better and better stuff, and we got known for that. The 2 singers. A lot of bands, the Beatles had 4 singers too, but it's not like there was 2 singer bands. But you think of like a Linkin Park, you think of some of these 2 singer bands that were blowing up kind of when there weren't that many. So it kind of set us apart. And we also had this punk Beastie Boys.
I think the other one was for San Diego was One by One when they had 2 singers.
And there was another one called Thought Experiment. Those guys had 2 singers too that I remember being,
I think I remember that name.
Yeah, Robert, and I'm forgetting the other cat's name right now. I thought they had a pretty good thing. And then, do you guys remember Quilt?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Quilt was on a couple of those early summer shows that we did. I liked those guys. That, and there was a band called Spill. Do you remember Spill?
Oh yeah.
Spill. I wasn't as hip on like I said, West Coast punk, so I didn't really realize that it was kind of like a Jello Biafra inspired thing. But I played a couple shows with them in a band that pre-Mower, when I first got here, was in like this, I don't know what the hell you call it. It was kind of like a post post Alice in Chainsy type band.
Oh, okay.
But we did play with Spill, and I just thought it was like the friggin' cat's pajamas, man. The guy he's throwing up before he goes on stage, and he's just up there just wilding out. And he had a couple cool songs. I wonder what happened to those cats. They were, gone very fast that I remember. But
so you remember? Do you remember your first Soma show?
I'm trying to think if that was one of the Quilt shows, because we didn't do that many. I mean, probably more than I remember, but we did at least one or two with Quilt. We did
on the side stage.
Yeah, like I said,
that's right. You never played the main stage. I didn't play the main stage at that Metro.
Yeah, I played the main stage at the other Soma, but I never played the original Soma. I wasn't in a band at that time when that was happening. But yeah, there was like a Jedi sex trick or something like Jedi mind trick. Jedi sex trick was one of the other shows we did there. The more memorable ones were the System of a Down, Head PE, and Dial 7 show. That was a big show for us, because they were all great bands. They had great fans. The place was
crazy that was on the side stage of all places.
Insane.
Yep,
absolutely insane.
And the guys from System used to come to Soma to watch shows.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, I didn't spend a lot of time with them. I have this strange memory of that show, and it was like we completed sound check and load in, and then I just remember Serge just walking away with a backpack. That's the only real takeaway. I remember Dial 7 out of all those bands. I remember Dial 7, their performance. Guy came out with like a sombrero or something like that. And then I remember Serge walking away after sound check with a backpack, just like humbly, quietly walking away wherever he was going.
And I think Big Mike actually mixed that show.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah.
Who's the other cat? Sam, right?
Sam.
Sam. I like Sam quite a bit, actually.
Sammy.
Yeah.
Sammy the Sound Man.
Yeah.
Shout out to Sammy.
Yeah, Sam Castellano, right? That's his, he's a good dude.
Yeah, he's still doing sound.
Yeah.
I used to do side gigs with him every once in a while to help him out.
It's funny because the sound people that I like Mike Clovis.
Oh, yeah.
Sam, but the sound people that...
we had both those guys on this show.
No kidding. That's awesome. Yeah, Clovis is an interesting character, man.
Oh yeah, who's he doing now? He's doing someone.
He was out with like the Doobies or something.
Yeah, he was out with the
Doobie Brothers.
Yeah. He's. If I had to pick a guy,
I know he was doing Christina Aguilera.
We had him do a lot of audio diction because I just wouldn't trust anybody, probably
he's the backup POD guy too.
That makes sense. Yeah, and he was Sprung's guy for years. Yeah. He's super talented, man.
Well, he's another one of those that when you look at it, when he first started coming around and working with Sam, he was just basically like me. Like, should I really be here? Should I have this much power in this format? And now, he's taken it just, to the moon.
Yeah, he's a pro.
There's so many people that, like, when I had to deal with waste management company, I think it was Edco or someone, a trash truck came by and took off my mirror on my truck. So the guy had to come here, and I showed him on the tape, okay, here it is. And he's that's it. And then, had to get my information, and then eventually came out that, I'm who I am.
Right.
He's like, dude, I used to go to Soma all the time. I met my wife at your club.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And we're, married, kids, blah, blah, blah. So many people that came through with bands and all that are in so many different places of, they've blossomed. It's not like me. I still mow lawns. I still ride skateboards. I'm still writing. Well, actually now I'm stoked about this new band, but I haven't changed much. But so many people have gone to so many brilliant places. It's just absolutely amazing.
People can say what they want about me, and they will. But I have a knack for getting people to shows and making an event out of it.
You guys promoted shows really well.
But we got good at, let's throw this random band on that isn't like us. And now we've got 100 people that wouldn't come to see us.
Even when, we don't talk much about Soma SD, the newer Soma.
Yeah.
But, I put you guys on that show with Stone Sour. You guys brought the heads.
Yeah, we impacted a lot of shows like that.
Yeah.
But, that's how we got on a lot of those shows because, whether people liked our band or our music or what we were doing, whatever people we were, they knew they could count on 100, 500 tickets. I mean, that's money in the bank.
How many times did you guys play at SD?
We played there with Slayer one time. It was probably the culmination of our efforts. I would say that was a big deal for us. And then we played with Mastodon on a side stage, which is they were amazing there too.
Yeah,
it was like head shaking that they were on the side stage. And then Audio Addiction played there with a band called. They were strange. What were they called? It was like Proto. No, I'm not remembering, but there was like a kind of a weird pairing. So maybe I played the other Soma more, And
because at the you guys were coming more in at the end of Metro.
Yeah,
but I mean, which one did you like better? I know SD is bigger.
It's hard to say. I think I liked Metro better.
I liked Metro better too.
But I can't say I played with Slayer at Metro. So there's that shine to this place is that we played with some 3 pretty big bands there and had some good opening for Slayer was, we had a lot of hometown love. I think if that was in another town, they might have eaten us up.
That's funny too. Another thing that we talked with Roy last night. I put them on Downset opening for Slayer.
Yeah.
At Metro.
That's so rad. Yeah, I like Downset. Like I said, they for me they were kind of like the first incarnation of that Rage Against Machines. Even the style.
Kind of a new metal / hardcore.
Yeah, I don't think they.
What do you call it?
Rapcore.
Rapcore.
Yeah,
it's basically new metal, basically. Before it was.
He has a good voice. Like I like that voice. I think he's got a powerful voice. Fortunately, we went on one tour and I had no voice every third night, and I went and saw a vocal coach, which saved my whatever career I had. She saved it for sure because I was losing my voice. It's one thing to do it on a Friday, Saturday in town, but when you got to do Friday, Saturday, 30 days a month, and you're screaming improperly, just fry yourself. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if there is some damage there because there's some stuff I struggle with now, and it just kind of like I want to sing cleaner, and it goes raspier faster than I would like. So it's just kind of like that's my voice, you know what I mean? And it's funny because this producers, I'm sitting there being really hard on myself because I'm not getting the sound I want, and everyone else in the room is like, "You're killing it," you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, but I'm not hearing what I'm hearing in my head.
Yeah.
And I'm slowly starting to go, well, all right, that's just how you sound,
right?
This guy that you hear in your head. That guy's just in your head. He doesn't exist in the real world. Like when you sing, you sound like you. So
the devil on your shoulder that's poking you.
Well, I mean, you do. Some things you know how you want it to sound, and you're not going to be happy till you get it. And other things you got to maybe not be so hard on yourself. And at the end of the day, there's enough people out there that like Mower's stuff to say like, all right, I'm at some level of talent, you know what I mean? Whether I've figured it out myself.
Yeah, I would say
I got a couple fans, Yeah,
so
it's like
you guys have a lot of fans.
I don't want to beat myself up too bad.
You guys, your impact on the scene and the rise up that you guys did. Plus, realistically, if we go back to what I used to try to teach bands, you guys basically rewrote the book for me to promote.
Yeah,
I mean that's the Hollywood way. Flyers everywhere. Find the people that you need to get your name in front of and keep it in front of them.
Well, I don't want to give away any special sauce, but I know when a show's going to sell out. I know almost to the number of how many advance tickets or people that tell me they're going to go, and I've got that number where I go, all right, this thing's going to go, and then I just start telling people it's going to sell out.
Yeah.
See, that was a cool thing back then too. Is we never did pay to play.
Yeah, to LA. I mean, we avoided it mostly because by the time we were going to LA, there was enough buzz about it and this, that, and the other thing. So we didn't really have to do that. But we were all kind of warned about it, like you get up to LA and it's going to cost you, And in a way, we didn't do pay to play so much here, but there was that like you got to sell 50 tickets. That's pay to play.
Oh yeah, there was total pay to play.
So it's
you just didn't. Well, the thing is, it wasn't pay to play. You just didn't get paid if nobody showed
up.
Well,
that wasn't. I worked at someone didn't get paid a lot of times.
Well, the thing that is still frustrating to me even thinking about where I want to do, because I know that the first couple shows with this lineup of Stretcher they're going to be big shows.
Yeah.
Just on us, if we had no new music and we just put this lineup together, went out and played old stuff, we'll still pack places because we know that many people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The fact that we actually have some good tunes is going to be really cool. I think that's going to surprise some people. But what I was driving at is, if I'm going to drop 300 or 400 drinkers on your bar, like, I don't really want to. I want the door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you,
yeah.
And as you should get. I mean, they're coming to see you guys.
You'd be surprised how many
money.
It's like, oh well, if you hit this, you hit this. It's like, dude, I'm in this 30 years. Like, I'm at a point where I'll just go rent the fucking Elks Lodge and do it myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we can keep the bar too. You know. So that kind of stuff is what it is. The band is very democratic. If those guys want to play someplace and they're not doing the deal that I necessarily want, I'll eat shit and go do it. You know what I mean? But I feel like I know the first two out of the gate are going to be big, just to get everybody, to get all the homies back out. You know, everyone that used to go to those shows and have a good time. And I've got those marriage stories and all, people met at our shows, people knocked each other up at our shows. I've got all that stuff too. When you bring that many people together that many times, those people are off doing their own things now. They got businesses, they got kids, they got families. But if they hear we're doing something, you can dust off a Friday night to go see everybody. You know what I mean? That's what's great about Sprung Monkey shows still happen and stuff like that. Like, it's the same thing. You've got 20, 30 years of that connection. And I don't, people maybe don't come off as the lovey-dovey type, but that is part of it, is connecting people. These shows, if I can get 1,000 people in a room all enjoying the same thing, I mean, that's something. That's what you did over and over and over again.
Right.
So it's something that, it maybe doesn't get enough credit because you're out there yelling and screaming and throwing microphones at sound guys and stuff.
The other thing you're bringing up, like when we're talking the whole pay to play and all that, we got to remember the Metro didn't have alcohol, so we weren't.
Yeah.
If nobody's showing up, nobody's getting paid.
It was tickets or nothing.
And then
tickets and candy bars or whatever.
And then somebody has to pay the bills,
Yeah.
So
no, it's a different ball game, and that's a double-edged sword because you want to play for all ages, because who's gonna show the most love? The guy sitting there at 35 with his arms crossed, judging the way your guitar player picks, or the 18-year-old kid, 15-year-old kid that is just there to tear it up.
Yep.
Like, that's awesome.
Not only that, you're going to sell merch too, because we're not selling alcohol.
Yeah.
Overpriced alcohol,
Yeah.
I mean, we're selling Coke and water.
Well,
candy bars.
$1.
I've been on the other side of the industry where I've had to book bands operating a restaurant or a bar or something like that, and the headache there, you see it. It's like, these guys think they're Motley Crue, man. They've got 15 people here that want a $200. Yeah,
so we dealt with that at Soma.
So I know both ends of it, and I know, I try to dance that line to where, the reality is, if you can bring 200-300 people into a bar, they're going to make far more selling booze than anything else. So it's I got a little bit of a axe to grind with it,
and a lot of people want to go and drink.
Well, yeah, and dude, I'm at the point where. It's a funny little story. I'm at the point where I don't even care if you give me it's later in life. I don't care if I get a bar tab, but we used to tour, right? And it's shocking, right? But the promoters, they'd grind you down on the way in. They wouldn't want you to, get $1,000 or whatever. Grind that guarantee down to nothing. But then after the show, hey, we're going out to the club, drinks are on me, because they want to leave that good impression, so they get you back through town to grind you down again, and but they're making money at their bar. But the trick that I learned is we'd be at these strip clubs or bars or whatever, and I'd be picking off 30-year-old scotch. Everybody else would be doing shot and beer. I'm ordering like, let me have that Macallan 25, you know what I mean? And I'd see them go and look at the bar tab, the subtotal, about an hour in, be like, who's drinking $50 shots? It's like, should have paid me, man. Should have paid me on the way in.
So they didn't care about what.
I would have bought my own booze.
If they gave you a drink ticket, there was no limit on it.
You couldn't always do it, but if I got to taste some really, really tasty stuff out there, just on somebody else's tab, because they had it in for us going in.
That's the way to do it, though, realistically, because one way or another, they got to pay.
Yeah.
But then, with all those, and the majority of them, everything is that way. But then you find the little pockets where they're genuine and they really care.
Yeah. Well,
and those are the people that are going to stick around. Those are the
forever.
people that are going to support forever.
Yeah, forever. And it's, one thing that people here don't really realize, or maybe not all of them, but like Mower could go do 300 in a lot of cities, 400. We got to the point where we were coming through almost as much on in Arizona as we were in San Diego after a while, and people didn't really realize that we had followings. We weren't like major headliner, but we did our own tours and stuff like that, and we could get enough people to sustain a tour, between
that's how Green Day was. That's how Face to Face was for a long time.
Yeah, like
we would put on a good show for them, and then they could pick some other ones and do mini tours. But you got to start from somewhere.
Yeah.
And if you can pull in 300-400 heads in different cities, you can do
you connect
a lucrative tour, and that just keeps expanding.
Yeah. Did you guys have a booking agent?
We did. We did towards the end of things. We had Tom Hoppa would do some booking for us at TKO, but we booked a lot. I would say we booked the majority of our stuff. But
once you got out there and you knew where to places to play, then you had your contacts.
Look, I was a car salesman, a hotel salesman. Obviously I'm eloquent enough to hold a conversation. Like, do I really need a guy to call you and tell you how great my band is, or can I just do it myself? Especially when you
save money that way.
Well, that, and you also have a little bit more control, and you know
what you're getting into, basically.
Exactly, yeah, and you can kind of, you get. My bass player was really good at sniffing out the problems beforehand and asking, some of the questions that you didn't want to ask, because you're saving yourself a headache down the road if you knew,
if you're advancing your own shows, then you get all the details up front. So.
Yeah, and if it's getting a little too weird, you can pull out
of it.
You know what I mean? So, I think we probably lasted far longer than we should have on the strength of what our albums were doing, just because you had, three good brains in the band as far as selling merch, as far as leveraging connections. We were with, one of our flyers would have 15 sponsors on it. You know what I mean? We're connecting with everybody.
So you guys actually got sponsors too, huh?
We got sponsors that didn't even make sense a lot of times. We were sponsored by like Ed Hardy, getting like watches and stuff from Ed Hardy. Just, didn't even make any sense. Some of the things that we wound up doing, some of them were no-brainers, where it was like Seedless, or, Chris had a relationship with one of the guys that lost clothing. So, we had a lot of clothing companies, but then we would branch out. The best ones were the liquor companies like Jägermeister. Those guys, that was a genius program for them. Like that Jaeger music side of things, Rick and
when I did Ozfest 2000, they were a sponsor of that.
Absolute genius, man. I mean, they sold more booze through that just any local band had a Jaeger shirt. They would do that mixed merch where they had the big Jaeger thing, then your logo on the back. So you're getting these free shirts and you got your logo on it, but everyone's walking around with a massive Jaeger.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy how they.
Because I know on some of the festivals they would give out shots of Jaeger, and depending if they had a beer garden or whatever.
We used to get cases of it, and
oh my god.
I mean, I was just telling somebody this yesterday or the day before. I used to go to the club bartenders and ask them for pineapple juice, and I'd make these like Surfer on acid, because I couldn't do shots of Jaeger every night, so I would at least make something palatable, and drink this stuff. But Rick Zeiler, he went on to launch Cold Cock Whiskey. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh yeah.
And I hit him up, I don't know, within the last year. I had a question for him or something like that, and I think he's happy to be out of the liquor music business. I don't know what he's doing these days, but yeah.
I just remember when I was touring with Papa Roach, and we got Red Bull back in 2000.
That's huge.
And that I was drinking too much. It was not good.
No.
It was not good on my colon, my intestines. So.
Or your heart.
Yeah.
But when you're tour managing, you're driving and doing everything else.
Yeah. No, you got to be alert.
You got to stay awake. But 12 Red Bulls a day is not good.
No.
I would have loved the Jaeger. I still, to this day, Jaeger to me is like, I was told when I turned 21, a guy at a liquor store goes, "You got a cold?" Because I had a cold. And because I would go, the liquor store was right across the street in OB from the payphone that I would use to book shows.
That's wild.
Because I was basically homeless. And so he gave me Jaeger. Well, I purchased it, obviously. And ever since then, whenever I'm coming down with a cold or something, I go to Jaeger.
Well, you know, it's funny because if you drink Fernet and then you throw like simple syrup in Fernet, you're getting really close to Jaeger. They're very herbal. I mean, they're definitely that's part of their deal is they were herbal. And the funny thing about Jaeger was, I think it was Sidney Frank was the guy's name. He wound up blowing up Jaeger, blowing up Grey Goose. They sold Grey Goose for like $1 billion, something ridiculous back in the day. But apparently he was in some German bar in like New York or wherever, and he saw Jaeger and was like, well, who brings that stuff in? And no one was really importing it. So he got the bright idea to start importing this thing, and then just blew it up to what you know today is like a popular shot.
Yeah, still there's people that love it or hate it, and the people that love it like me.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't drink it all the time, but that whole sort of marketing is kind of what's going on in the skateboard industry.
Yeah,
where you get
grassroots like that,
like all these weird sponsorships now, but it's the same thing as in music. I mean, I hate corporate skateboarding. It just drives me up a wall. Yeah. But you get these sponsors, and certain kids are making a very good living, and that's like 3%, maybe 4% out of all the skateboarders, because everyone skates these days. Yeah. I mean, I got a friend of mine that just turned 71, and he's still skating. He still skates pools.
That's crazy, man.
But by bringing that in, it also helps, and how you guys. But you guys had the product that could, basically represent all the sponsors.
Well, we sucked the air out of the room live on a lot of bigger bands. You know what I mean? And like you say, a lot of these guys would have a hit on the radio, and they come through, and we'd be bringing the crowd. Yeah. And I don't say me, we as a mower, but the local band. Yeah. Would be the one putting 300 heads in the room.
Oh yeah,
and you guys did.
Yeah, but that that was the thing that sustained us for a long time. It's just being able to coordinate that. And, look, not every show was a winner, but we had a pretty good batting average as far as if we were playing somewhere. You also got to the point where once you start touring, you are out of town for 3 months. So the anticipation's built up, and people are hearing stories on the road. And we were a pretty early adapter of websites. I was stealing code to do a HOL or AOL. I think our first website was like www.aol.com.members.megamower. It was like, the thing was like that long, but we had a website, and we had our dates on it. And I used to steal code from other sites and put it, like, if I saw like a scroll going across, I'm like, ooh, that's cool. And I'd look at the code on someone else's site, and I'd steal it and put it on ours. And the sites got better and better that way. And there weren't, at that time, that was like maybe 98, like the internet was not, it's everywhere now, but that was still kind of, not every band had a website. We were on top of that pretty quick, and these mp3.coms and stuff like that. Like we were savvy enough to be online to kind of realize the power of that. I was reading some stuff, like we had our early shows, our first big show was like Gwar. We had a Gwar show at Cain's. And MTV wrote about it. MTV wrote about us saying Mower stole the show, this, that, the other, and like that stuff, for a press book, our press book was hysterical, dude. It had like shows with like, we'd be using the other band's logos. So you'd see it'd be like shows with Zebrahead and the dating game. And like we had these random things that we were putting out as like what we had done, like our resume, what I mean? It was just absolutely ridiculous. I found some of that stuff. I lost a hard drive in like, I don't know, maybe 2000 or something like that had some of the early flyers. I wish I had that hard drive. Some of those things were ridiculous. The stuff that we were making. I didn't have like Photoshop, so I was doing PowerPoint, and then I'd print the PowerPoint out. And it was ridiculous, like the amount of editing I did on these PowerPoints to make them presentable. But some of them were just hysterical. Like we'd just find some crazy looking person and plaster the whole town with it. You know what I mean? Yeah. We definitely went overboard with promotion, but it served us pretty well.
Yeah.
Like I had the cops zoning board would hit us up like, you guys got to shut it down with the.
I remember that.
It's
Flyers everywhere.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was. We were. I don't think there were many.
Well, they used to hit us up too, going, "Hey, you got to tell these kids to stop flying."
Yeah.
For
you
their
got,
shows.
Got no power over
And
us.
that, up to my last days at the club, I think we were still, for the most part, putting up flyers. But I had a flyer route that ended up being 200 miles round trip that I would.
You know, it's funny. I used to run into Danny Pillsbury. Do you know Danny Pillsbury?
Sounds familiar.
So Danny, he used to distribute flyers for like Soul Cracker, and I'd always run into him because we were on the same route. You know, we'd be hitting the same coffee shops. We knew where you could put flyers up. You knew where you couldn't. You know what poles were good to stick
we used to have to do the Music Traders, all of them.
Yeah,
Music Traders.
That was a
and then,
long run. Blue Meanies.
Yeah, off the records, and then
Blues.
I would find other shows that we would hit up. Like that's when I saw Marilyn Manson. I was going to call him Brian Warner again.
that's funny.
I seen him on the payphone, and I was flyering the sports arena back when it was still the sports arena.
Right.
And I told my girlfriend at the time, I said I should go and talk to him and see if they want to play. And eventually, you know, they played. But I mean, it's just what you did. I mean, I didn't have a life. All I did was Soma.
Yeah.
So big shows like that, and then along the beach, I would fly all around Point Loma. I would go to certain high schools and fly around there. And there's me with my mohawk and
Right.
you know whatever. I'm amazed I didn't get more harassed. I got more harassed riding a skateboard
Well,
in my adult
used to
life
go
than I
out
did for that.
At 2 a.m, I'd go out, and I always told myself, like, you know, you'd have other bands bitch, moan, and complain. How'd Mower get on that show? How'd Mower get on that show? But I'd be out at 2 a.m, and I'd have to get up and work at 6, and I'd be out stapling up posters.
Yeah, doing the work.
And I'm like, that's why we're getting on these shows.
Yeah.
You know? Because there were better bands out here that couldn't get on shows because you couldn't put heads. You know, part of the equation is creating an event and creating something that people want to go to, because that's how the bars and clubs are going to make their money. And you can be a virtuoso, but you can be a virtuoso on your couch with nobody listening to you too. So,
But think about the '90s as well. With the bands that were playing the bars versus playing Soma, those bands, they got signed, but they didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Like the bands that played Soma.
because you're influencing kids that you got a
They're gonna buy
20-year
records.
run with them. Yeah.
Yeah.
13 to 33, you got them, you know, at the bar. The guy's going to try and go home with somebody, and then he's done. He's got to go to work, you know,
Forgot about the band.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, doesn't even remember.
Yep.
Doesn't
Or they're
remember
too
how to
busy,
get
or
home.
they were so wasted they don't.
That's dude. That was the other thing, is we figured out really fast that the headlining slot, probably the worst slot you could
Well,
do.
especially at a bar, yes.
Because like you said, everyone's drunk. The energy's already out of the room. You know, like that spot before, when everyone's tuned up, that's where you want to do it. Like
You don't want to be out at the bar till 2 watching, at the whiskey,
people
watching a
people are
show,
over
waiting
it.
for the headliner that goes on at 1. It's like, nah, I'm ready to
you're
leave.
done. You're over it. I was gonna say, this is funny because it ties in Soma, but we were at a Slayer show at Soma, and everybody would flyer the shows, flyer the parking lot, and I guess my bass player Chris had a handful of flyers, left, and he just threw them like up in the air. You just see them littering down, and then in the parking lot, Kerry came from Slayer. He's like, "Hey man, what's the name of your band?" And he's like, "Mower." He's like, "Yeah, next time I need 1,000 Mower flyers, I'll ask you for them." it's pretty funny.
Kerry used to hang out at the SD location.
I met
He'd come
him
for shows
through Jägermeister.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is I wasn't ever the guy that wanted to get photos with people. I mean, I could have had, all of us at this table could have had hundreds and hundreds of pictures. And I didn't really want to be that guy, but I did get a photo with Dominic and Carrie at some golf outing. And I got a photo
of all
with
places.
Yeah, right. I got a photo with DMC from Run DMC. I was like, I am not getting a photo with him. And then this is something you probably would not know about me, but I was a massive Hanoi Rocks fan. Do you know?
Oh, okay.
So finish. They got lumped into glam because they looked very glam, but they were like, in my eyes, they were a punk band,
Yeah.
And where the hell was I going with this story? Oh, okay. So big fan, right? And then, as it turns out, there was I'm forgetting his name out, but Lance long story short, he was like a journalist. He was interviewing someone. This was during the days of MySpace. I'm chatting with him. He goes, I got to go. I got an interview with this guy, Sammy. Well, first of all, it was spelled S-A-M-I, and I'd never seen it spelled that way except for the bass player of Hannah Rock, Sammy Alpha. So I go, Sammy who? He goes, Sammy Alpha. I go, Hannah Rocks? He goes, yeah, he's in OB. He's got this project that they were living here in San Diego. Wow. So I jump on MySpace and I find Sammy Alpha's profile and I hit him up. I'm like, hey man, I'm just a fan, but I heard you're like down the street from me. I'd love to buy you a beer sometime, right? And he hit me back. He's like, yeah, cool, we'll set that up. And before we ever could, we ran into each other at a mutual friend's birthday party and like hit it off. It actually, I went to see him in Spain. I went to see him in New York. Like it was, now I've kind of lost touch with him because he went back to Finland and blew up.
Oh, really?
He did a show called Soundtracker where he would travel around the world. It was kind of like No Reservations, only for music.
Oh, cool.
And he'd just go talk with like these crazy Jamaican jam bands and all this wild art. He did it for 3 years, blew up. And he's been playing with the singer from Hannah Rocks in his Michael Monroe band for years now, and they're doing really well. And so he's kind of next stratosphere. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can get him on the WhatsApp to say what's up on his birthday and stuff like that, but I don't hear from him too much anymore. But the story that this long-winded preamble was to tell you that I wanted a picture with Mike Monroe. So I was like, Sammy, can you get a picture? Like, it's one of those pictures where I had to have it, but I was pretty tuned up. I was there. I was there with actually Jason Mueller. He's a videographer, a talented videographer, and we were drinking and watching the show, and we got pretty lit up. So by the time that they were kind of coming out of the green room and the crowd had died down, I was on one, and the photo is like a picture of me screaming. The guy that I wanted the photo with is almost trying to like lean out of frame. My friend Sammy is laughing at me screaming. It's like, it's a disaster piece, but it couldn't have gone any other way. And I was like, oh man, this guy's never going to want to see me again. And then the best part was Sammy's like, hey man, can you drive us up to Redondo Beach? We got to show up there tomorrow. And we want to let Mike, have the van or whatever. So I wound up showing up to the show with like the band, and I had Ginger from the Wild Hearts in the car, Steve Conti from the New York Dolls in the car, and Sammy, and I'm just driving them up to Redondo Beach, which was crazy because that's where Vince Neil had his accident,
right?
And the drummer for Hannah Rocks perished. So, and now I had breakfast with them, and the woman who was their manager was snapping photos. There's a picture of me just talking like we're talking to Ginger Wildheart, the picture of me with all the guys again, and then I got to sit there during dinner while they're talking about like kind of reminiscing about Razzle and that whole tragedy. Like, as of, I'm kind of Sammy's friend at this point, but I'm also still a fan, and I'm listening to like the inside scoop on it, and my little fanboy head is just exploding.
Yeah.
Like, this is unreal. Yeah, I wound up doing like a 3-day little tour with those guys, and I thought I'd never see him again because I was freaking out while they were taking that photo.
Right.
I mean, we all start as fans anyway, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So
that's how I got into Soma.
Yeah.
I wanted to go hang out with the Bad Brains, and
how cool is that?
That's how I ended up working at Soma.
Me, I answered a need for an artist, and I just happened to know people, and I could book some shows because I'd already started with Short Lived, and I was friends with the Ninth. I was working with Struggle, Missing Children, and Psychic Dykes. So I kind of was establishing myself, but not really. So when I still think of it as like infiltrating. I don't think Len knew what sort of basket case he had brought in and how I was so defiant about things. But, I was just a fan, and I wanted to be part of the scene.
Yeah.
Because I hadn't established myself vocally or even on the bass yet to even make a mark. So I made my mark there. And that's why I never toured or anything and really pursued any of my bands, because I had an opportunity to help all these other people.
Yeah.
And that was enough for me until now, where I'm like really focused in on these two projects. But enough about me. I wonder what happened with Mower. How did that fall apart?
That, unfortunately, we had a real Spinal Tap issue with
the drummer blew up.
Almost. So I got a funny story about one of the many drummers. I guess he had an episode, right? And this is right before we're going to play. We had a show. Well, I could say it was with Metallica, but it was like a radio show in the parking lot at the Metallica event, and we had the Slayer show, all within a week.
Oh wow!
And this guy basically decides to go missing on us. And the story, I mean, we found out that he was all right, but we basically put out flyers like we didn't know if he was alive anymore.
Have you seen me flyers?
Kind of like that. And we couldn't, like the radio station was saying he was missing, so we had all this free press about this missing drummer.
Oh, wow.
And the phone call, Chris was talking to me and he's like, I don't know, man. Like, what if something happened to him? And like, I heard him say, I was like, ding, 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 ding. Like there's these missing posters all over town. We just got like, there was always something to talk about with us. And that was one of them. But to get back to what you asked, we had a real revolving door, unfortunately, at kind of the guitar and the drummer spots. And it hurt our last record. Our last record was, we put out half rock, half slower. Remember, we did slower for a bit.
Yeah.
And I think we should have done one or the other. And we also threw together songs because we were getting offered these tours. We wanted to keep the machine rolling, and probably should have just stopped, got the right personnel. We let somebody back in the band that should have never been let back in the band. And it was toxic. It was, and the songs, more than anything, I don't think the songs were kind of fleshed out the way they should be. Like there's a couple good songs on that record. There's some of the slower stuff's cool, but it confused fans. Like if we had just done a full-blown slower record, probably would have been a nice departure. We could have toured behind that for a little bit and then got back to slower. But it was a tense time, and there were riffs and that type of stuff. So it just ran its course. And the other thing is, I alluded to earlier, is that we probably went on longer than we should have anyway, because we were able to keep sustaining it.
Mm-hmm.
But we weren't necessarily like we hit a pinnacle of people. So maybe it was 300, 400, 500 people across the country, and yeah, you can make a living on that, but you're not buying houses with it, and
right?
You're not. So it would have kind of been a fool's errand to keep touring and beating ourselves up with it. I actually, when we did that third record, for me, I saw it on the wall. I go, look, we're putting this record out. I will give you guys a year, and then I'm out.
Okay.
Like, you guys do what you need to do. And they did continue as slower for a long time, but that merged into like a corporate cover band. That was lucrative while they were doing it, because you're getting Microsoft event money or whatever, like, wedding money. Like there's good money in it.
Oh yeah.
I tried to be in a cover band once, and this was within the last 2 years, and I did one show, and I will never do a cover band ever again. It was like slowly dying for an hour or an hour and a half, whatever the hell it was. Dominic was great at it.
Well, he's doing that take cover.
Yeah, that's got to be. I haven't seen them play, but
I know
that's
I've been trying to get
so
him to
much
come down here to play.
Yeah, we were talking about, because it's, we all know Pat from UL, and actually I just saw him about a week ago, because my bass player got tattooed. Pat was doing some tattooing down here, so we've been talking about trying to get up there and do something with those guys, or something down here with them.
Isn't PK doing something, another band too?
PK is now doing War Fever here.
War Fever.
Yeah.
That's right.
And they just played at Tower Bar, and I wasn't able to, I forget if I was in LA or what the story was. We didn't get down to see him, but that's definitely high on my gotta go see, because I saw some video of them doing Waiting Room by Fugazi.
Oh, really?
And it was they did a good version of it. It was pretty dope.
Okay. I know Alan from RMSD's drumming in that band.
I don't
Alan
really
Spurgeon?
know the lineup. Yeah, I don't know the lineup too well, but the singer's got a good voice from the things that I've heard.
DJ.
Yeah, well, I know it's Will from Sprung. So I know Will and Pat out of that group so far that I know of. I don't think I know the rest of the lineup, but the few clips I've heard, they sound dope.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out too. And I know you've got a schedule that you got to keep.
Sadly,
do we want to play a song real quick, and then we'll just kind of wrap it up, and then whatever you can tell us about Resonance. And what I'll do is I'm gonna. By the time this comes out, it'll be in a couple months or so. But
it's B.J. Anderson.
Oh, very cool.
What I'll do is promoting because now that we have some content coming up, I'm going to be promoting the podcast. So we got to take a picture.
Cool. So
and I'll just keep dropping.
If it's after I get this thing mastered, because we're trying to get it together for May. I mean, I would love for you to play something new. You know.
Oh yeah.
So
if you give me a track, I can tag it on as an addition. We'll do the podcast and then
Did
point
Stretcher
one.
put a single out?
Stretcher put albums out.
Then they have a new single for an upcoming album.
So what they did was they had one of the guys from Piss and Razors come and do a track with them, and they did put it up. And I don't know. I think we have already rewritten over that. So,
okay.
So if it's
there's like one single that's on Apple.
Yeah, no, that would be the guy from Piss and Razors, who actually we went out and did drums for the first 3 tracks in El Paso with Eddie from Piss and Razors, drummer from Piss and Razors. But that would be a different track, and I think we've already written.
Yeah, so we don't want to.
Yeah, it's just going to confuse.
Got to wait for you.
Yeah.
There.
So
what we can do is
we'll do another Mower song to go out.
And what else we could do is once it's getting ready to come out or after it's come out, just bring in the band. We can do a chat and play some songs.
Yeah,
and,
those guys are like that for sure.
You know, that'd be fun.
They've all got tons of stories too.
And then give us a couple hours because, tends to go a little long. I'm long-winded. If you just get me talking.
No, and I'm the same way. Like, it's almost good that I can't stay because I could do 3 hours of this.
Yeah.
I mean, forget it. And I'm the good thing is, like when I bartend, sometimes I'll bartend in between gigs and stuff like that, and I do one of 2 things. I either regale you with stories and entertain you, or I just become the student. I'm like, tell me more about astrophysics.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just sit and listen. So I kind of got a little of that going each way.
That's awesome. Well, what do you want to promote right now for when this comes out? And then we'll play a Mower song, and then we'll let you get out of here because you've got at least an hour drive.
I got about an hour.
I got a 3-hour drive.
Yeah, dude, I don't know how you do it, man.
I got to pet my dog.
I guess the only
and
thing,
clean the house.
The only thing worth mentioning is there's stretchermusic.com.
Okay, perfect.
And that'll get you to. I won't go into it now because it's a long story. But we're trying to work with one of these direct-to-garment printers so we can offer, like shirts, hats, mugs, that type of stuff. But the samples we're getting back is like these are your samples showing us your quality. So I've got to find probably a new vendor, but we are going to have merch
okay, cool.
I want to make sure that people are rocking cool quality stuff, and we haven't found the vendor just yet. So we're we're searching for a solution.
Do you know some people?
I'm trying to think, and
I'm really lazy. So this particular type of thing is we don't carry any product. We don't ship it. So basically, we send the logos.
You want like a website?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't want.
There was one that I was using, but let me. A friend of mine, Justin's on tour in Europe right now, but he should be back in like a week and a half. And he's got a label. So shout out, Justin, when you hear this, 31G.
Oh, Justin from the Locust, Justin.
Yeah.
I when the Locust hit, I was a massive fan, right? I saw them at Street Scene with like maybe 400 people. It was the most insane pit that I've ever seen. I don't know how to explain this, as politically correct as I can be about it. There were like people with disabilities in this mosh pit. It was one of the most insane things I've ever seen. I was insane. And then I tried to see if we could do like a Mower Locust thing. And I got a response from him. And I think he was just like taking the piss out of me. I forget. It was like Love and Kisses, Justin or JP.
Yeah.
And then I never heard from him again because I was, which sounds like much from what I know about him, it sounds like a par for the course.
That was a band that would never play Soma.
Well, here's the best thing. I used to that Plague Soundscapes was the one record they did, and it's maybe 27 minutes long, and I used to play it and the guys couldn't stand it. But you kind of, whoever was driving had the jukebox, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The van. I used to play it, and I'd let it go through twice because it was so short, and they couldn't tell one song from the other.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I mean, I could. I got to a point where I liked certain songs, but those guys didn't know, and I just hit them with it twice, so they had to listen to it over.
Is that the Epitaph one, or?
I think that might have been the Epitaph one.
Yeah, it's, again, God, I'm just blowing him up right now. But, yeah, it's in my truck. It's one of the few.
Yeah.
I have that. I've been listening to
Dead Cross stuff, too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got that, and then I've got Retox and then Hers Collective in my truck, and that's whenever I'm not listening to talk radio. That's
it's pretty abrasive stuff.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, acquired taste, but I dig it too.
I'll talk to him and see what he has as far as that, because with his label and everything, he has some stuff that he can take for shows, but I'm pretty sure he does online.
I mean,
purchase.
That's kind of our MO too. We're going to do limited stuff to sell here in San Diego, and then the rest of it, I don't want to count it. I don't want to buy it.
It's easier.
It's way easier, but I don't want. Like, we had a couple of logo shirts, and the logo's like off by an inch. It's kind of like, I mean, there's a margin for error, but that's a little bit too much because it's not cheap. For us to mark it up to make it to where it even makes sense. It's not cheap getting it from one of those places. What would cost you $4 or $5 for a one color shirt? It's like 10 or 15 from them.
Yeah.
And then you got to factor in shipping. So I can't have somebody buy a piece of junk for $25,
right?
Or whatever it costs to make it make sense.
Yeah, I'll do some research on it, because there's what we would do for Red Rum Skates is I found people, and then I would have them do it. And I had a guy that gave me a killer deal.
Yeah.
And I actually
some people will do fulfillment here in town, I'm sure.
They can't do that anymore either. Everything has changed so much.
I know.
Because, everything's so damn expensive.
Everything. Yeah.
So, the way that people purchase is different.
What's crazy is, where all the merch giants that were the companies, and now they're all gone.
Yeah. Like Blue Grape and all those.
Blue Grape, Giant, Winterland.
Yeah. Who's
Center Block.
Who's Dino using?
He uses a War Machine.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with them yet.
So that's something to check out.
Yeah.
Too. But let's get you out of here. Let's play a Mower song. Brian, thank you so much.
Yeah,
short notice.
Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Appreciate it.
No, you got it.
Yeah, good seeing you, man. It's been a long time.
Both of you guys, yeah. You're looking good, both of you.
You're looking great. So we're going to go out with Mower, and thank you, brother.
Yeah, bro. I would do it anytime.
Alcohol, LSD, guns and methamphetamine, Valium, ecstasy, heroin and gasoline, sex, bullets, kitchen whores, schools and pubs and looting stores, cocaine, candy, IRS, suicide, the president. What reckoning is in order, that's in order, that's the feeling that's compelling me. In a border, off the outside, I can never see anyway. There's no future. Or less you take control.
This podcast was recorded at Red Rum Skates. Mixed by me, Jer. Music provided by Breakacre. We appreciate all our listeners and our guests. Please stay tuned until the next one. Have a great one. Bye.